Okay guys, so that's Friday done today. Bit of a disappointing result in qualifying. It seems like once we all bolted on new tyres, everybody seemed to have found some extra speed and pace, and I couldn't seem to find it, which is unfortunate. I had a lot of rear hop going into corners, and I think I might have had too much grip just due to the sheer amount of rubber that was on the track surface. And also too, afterward we were planning to make some changes, and then we found that the chassis has begun to crack down in the welds, at the bottom of the welds, which is a real shame. So luckily we caught it at the moment how the cracks are like hairline thin, but there'd be no point running it any further, otherwise it'll just get worse. So hopefully tomorrow morning, we've swapped everything over as much as we could tonight. There's still a little bit left to go tomorrow morning. We swapped it over to the shop cart, Derek Jones's race cart from Power Republic. A huge thanks to Derek and Mitch, by the way, for helping me get it organised as best we could tonight. And hopefully it gets approved for use tomorrow when we can. We just need to tag it up and seal it and go forward from there. So hopefully that gets approved from the tree scrutineer, and we'll move forward with that. A couple things I want to point out here about the differences between the shop cart and my own cart. So my cart, like most other Tony carts, like my own, tend to usually be the Racer 401RR, which is usually the softer version, which is the 30 by 30 mil frame, meaning it's a softer frame, where Derek's cart, the shop cart, happened to be a Krypton 801RR, and on here on the screen is the difference. Here is a 32 by 32 mil frame, meaning that it is a stiffer frame and it's a lot harder to control. The difference between the two frames, noticeably, you'll probably notice in this video as I start to drive this go-kart on the Krypton cart through the races, I tend to have a lot of push and understeer in the steering, as you'll see in a lot of my driving style through the recordings of the race meet. And ideally with these new LeCompte tyres, the way to go with these karts is to ultimately have a softer kart. So the Krypton, to me, wasn't really ideal or suitable for my driving style. The Krypton's more designed for the heavier blokes, I believe, that run like KZ shifter and maybe even tag heavy as well on like the SVB, or I guess now the LOH tyres now they're dubbed as. So it's just really not that ideal for me to drive this go-kart, but either way, it was still one hell of a rocket, as much as it could have been for me, but it was hard to really come to grips with not knowing what a stiffer frame really felt like through the rest of this meet, and you'll see that later on throughout the rest of the video, just how hard it really was for me to sort of learn and adjust and adapt to the difference between this kart and then my go-kart, even though it was all pretty much, by the time we get to the final on Sunday, it was pretty much, I just put my usual setup on it, that I cross-referenced my entire regular club day setup onto it that I've been running on the club meets at Ipswich, and I basically just threw from my go-kart, and I threw that all onto the factory go-kart here from Power Republic. So yeah, but basically, if you want to know the difference between the Krypton and the Racer is the 30 mil, which is a softer frame. The Krypton is a 32 mil frame, front, back, and rear, or front to back and side to side rather. Where most frames today, like the KR, the FA karts, and I believe even the Arrow and possibly even the Birals as well, tend to be a 30 front to back and a 32 side to side. So yeah, but let's get on with the rest of the video and see what's left in stock for the races on Saturday and Sunday.
go, baby. That's all, folks.
Alright, so that was my point of view of the 2024 Queensland State Championships. Very far from ideal ending. I tried a lot of things to try and adapt to the Krypton 801 RR. It wasn't really to my liking. I didn't really enjoy driving it that much. I mean, it still felt great, but it wasn't as good as obviously a racer would be. A racer 401R is just simply more ideal for the lightweight categories, I believe. So, a couple things to note: the track grip was just absolutely insane all weekend long, and the top runners, like the fast runners, were running just ridiculous pace, like pace we haven't actually seen on like club days so far this year. Munro, congrats Jack Munro, winning Tag Restricted Light 2 years in a row, back-to-back Queensland State Championships. To Thomas Williams, my teammate finished third, and Jack Dussel in second place. And to everybody else that I had the privilege of competing against all weekend long, was really fun. It was clean and respectful. And to obviously good old Robbie Morto, the number 17, you were seeing me fight there in that last video. So it really was all race long, just a really good battle between the two of us mates. So it was really, really good to fight for a top 10. It was the best I could do with what I was given to me. All weekend long, yeah, just really seemed to struggle with pace in the kart. Obviously, being a stiffer frame, it tended to have a lot of understeer, and just very vigorous and hard to drive all round. So tried many things, but then at the end of the weekend, before the Sunday, I just decided to throw my usual club day setup on to Derek's frame, and that seemed to work a lot better, but it still wasn't ideal. I think a couple of things I could have tried would be to drop the rear ride height, to sort of try and get a little bit better release out of the corners. You can see my corner exits just absolutely suffered compared to everybody else. That was a poor shift from me. Take off in second gear, who does that? I just had really bad release out of the corners, and just like a lot of hop in general. So some things I could have tried would have been maybe a harder axle, which I did want to do on the Saturday, but then I didn't want to add to the headache of trying to maybe remove everything. And plus too, I didn't think it was going to be ideal Sunday morning, because even though the track grip would have been there, like I thought it just would have been maybe a little too cold to sort of run, and it would have come on like maybe way too late on in the race. I probably would have struggled to begin with, but I don't know. You live and learn, I suppose, and that's just like, those are two things I'm going to have to go back and test, and just try and see if I can adapt to that to my setup maybe. You know, it wasn't what I wanted, a top 10. It wasn't what I was after. I should have been in top 5 minimum. If everything was perfect and my frame didn't get damaged or cracked, a top 5 would have been the baseline. A podium, dare I say, maybe even the victory could have been at hand. But look, I could say this and that, it doesn't really make a difference. The only thing that matters is just the result that I've obtained with it, and you know, that's it. But I did the best I could, and in a kart that I had no prior knowledge with, I was basically learning to adapt to it through the races. That's the end of the video. I hope you enjoyed whatever I can make out of this video. I'm very thankful for the weekend I spent with everybody. A big thanks to Ultimate Kart Academy, held by Derek Jones, as well as Zach King. Congratulations to all of the fellow Queensland State champions. And a big thanks to Para Republic for just being all round awesome in general and just helping me out through the whole weekend. Without them, I wouldn't even have probably even continued after Friday, which would have sucked. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. I will see you on the next video.